Hi and welcome back. This is part 2 of the ECE online staff meeting for August 20th. We left off with just reviewing some policies and procedures so that students can be as successful as possible in our courses. And in the last video, we left off with making accommodations and making sure you have the proper paperwork for that. That paperwork does not need to be kept in any special way. At the end of the semester, you can destroy that. There isn't really any personal information regarding the student's disability. So sometimes that's a question, what do we do with those accommodation forms afterwards? You can just destroy them. I don't need to have those returned. The second piece of paperwork that I think we're doing much better on is filling out the proper incomplete form if a student at the end of the semester needs to be given an incomplete. There is, sorry, wrong form. There is a there it is, a form that I had sent out a while ago that you should use if you are fulfilling an incomplete. I've gone ahead and filled out one as a sample here so that you can see that it doesn't need a whole lot of detail, but it does need to be documented, and I will always need a copy of this. We have many students that will come back 6 months later and you know, want extra time or complain that they weren't given enough time, and having a document like this to go back to really will help me out again, to support you and what you have set out. So I just made this information up on this one, but the form is, you know, putting the student's name, your name as the instructor, the date that the contract is going to be created, and then very important, putting in the title of the class. That, you know, in the not only the name of the class but also the actual code for the class, and then the assignments that need to be completed. These words are already here. You just have to fill in what are the missing assignments, and then very, very specific instructions about how it should be turned in, when it should be turned in, where it should be turned in. So in this situation, you know, saying that these assignments need to be submitted to the instructor via email. It's very complicated to have the students upload something back into their old course. Many times students are not allowed access to the course after a certain date. So having a contract that says they're going to email it to you, I'm okay too if there is a situation that you're not going to be available the following semester, that my name can go in here too. That's fine too. And then we are asking, you know, again here we've got very specific due dates. In this sample I decided to split the two assignments up so that the student did not have to get everything done, you know, in 1 week's time. But we are then having the student respond in an email, just saying in an email right here, stating that they agree to the terms of this contract. We don't need them to sign it and return it. It's not that kind of legally binding agreement, but making sure you have a copy of it though, so you know what you are agreeing to as well. I am going to save this sample form and put it into the Canopy training course that you all participated in, so something you can go back to and look at. So I went ahead, and this is not something you would ever send out, but I put in here a copy off of the website at UC about when to give an incomplete and when not to. In a nutshell, it's someone that has been participating successfully throughout the semester, and then some kind of hardship happened, and them completing the course in the time that has been allowed will just add to the hardship that they have experienced. In some instances, it is better for a student to take an F and be able to completely repeat the course if they are not successful early on in the course. An incomplete should only be used if a student has had some kind of hardship mid-semester, and so this explanation I'm just going to include in the sample form. So again, the paper trail here is that you send it to the student, they agree through email, and you forward all that to me. I would like a copy of the contract so that I could put it into their folder just in case that information comes up later on. The other issue that comes up has to do with plagiarism. And before I get into the two sample forms of what the forms that you have to mail out for academic misconduct, I thought I would briefly share some guidelines that we have come up with as a staff here in the ECE online program for expectations. Many of our students that are coming in for their first courses have not been in school for a while. Perhaps they were not as successful in high school as they needed to be, and the whole APA format is a brand new concept for them. So while we have that still as our expectation, that's an expectation of the college, we are going to do more supporting of the students in the earlier courses with this. Of course, we want them to try to attempt APA format when it's expected, but we're not going to be as specific with, you know, where the proper periods are put, if a capitalization is missed, that points are not going to be deducted off for that. In every single course, there is an APA link that they can use that will help them successfully use APA formatting. But as you can see here, these are what we would consider freshman level courses listed here. And here we're going to be helping the students understand when it's appropriate to use APA. If they use some found sources, they Google something and print it off that way, and it's real easy to tell. Sometimes if you're suspicious that their writing doesn't look like how they're writing in the discussion board, copy a couple sentences, put it into Google, do a search. Oftentimes you'll see that things will come up. Many times they don't realize that that truly is plagiarism, so counseling them severely as far as this is a serious matter in these courses is very appropriate. Then we have the sophomore level courses, and here, you know, we are requiring them to reference things properly, and you know, we are still able to give them some reminders. We will allow them opportunities to do some things that if they have not properly cited the research in these courses, we will give them chances to redo it, but we're not, you know, holding their hand, so to speak, in what APA is all about. Then, of course, in the upper division courses, we're expecting them to use it you know, almost flawlessly, and this is where, you know, we can take off points for incorrect APA style and so on. So I will also put this form in the training course just as a guideline. If you have any questions about this, this is really open for discussion. It's kind of an ongoing thing there. That being said, if you do have a student that is has committed some kind of academic dishonesty, there are two forms that have to be filled out. One is called Form A, and typically you would notify me if this is the situation happening. This is the instructor allegations of academic misconduct, Form A. Basically, this is getting sent out to the student saying this is what I think is happening, and there are very strict deadlines to follow here. That this is, you know, here's the allegation. At this time, it is appropriate to just check it's going to be determined what is going to happen on Form A. You're just going to check that box based on the student's response. And then here you have to be very detailed about filling out the form. When the student signs this form, it's not saying that they, we don't know what kind of response we're going to give to the student. They're just saying, yes, I did do what you said, and then we can move forward. Moving forward then is creating Form B, which spells out what the instructor's actions are. Sorry. You can reduce their grade. You can have a recommendation for disciplinary action. If it's a student that has done this several times in your course, you know, there are some serious consequences we can do here. Most of the time, after we've gone through this step with a student, they never do it again. So, you know, you would recommend this. I don't know that I've ever seen a student fail the entire course, but it is appropriate for them to fail an assignment. If it's their first offense, though, I would definitely try to go the counseling route, have them redo it again. It is appropriate for them to go back and perhaps review the APA formatting information of what is considered plagiarism, what's not. There are different ways that we can handle that. So that is something that, again, we want to document if it's happening, but early on, let's try to help them understand what the severity is of plagiarism or any other academic misconduct. And finally, another form that has not been used enough, and this one I think really would cover a lot more of the issues than the ones I've just described, that we have students that just behave badly and treat instructors poorly, not professionally, are not professional with their colleagues. I don't know if it is something that is inherent to the online learning community, but some of the emails that I've seen from just a few students to instructors is really appalling. These are not people that we think we can just turn out into the early childhood field with confidence that they're going to be professional. At this time, it is appropriate for you to prepare a disposition form. Nothing really happens as far as, stopping their progress in the program if they have one disposition form. But this is a way for you to say, hey, I really need you to step up here and act professionally. There is, this is an electronic form. I just copied here just so you briefly can see that, there's places to check, so it's pretty much done for you. You just have to fill in the details. And it would go out to the student. They either agree or disagree. There's a chance for them to respond. You can see there at the bottom. And then it just kind of goes in their file. It's something that I will keep. And if they do get to 3 of these disposition forms, at that point it is an issue that we would elevate the severity of it to say, all right, I'm not so sure you are cut out for this field. But again, typically after one of these disposition forms, they usually turn things around. So I would like us to see using this. I know that when students don't participate or they're having difficulty in around week 5, we send an email to their advisor. That sometimes doesn't catch some of the issues that we're seeing. Often that's not the time I would necessarily use this disposition form. But in week 10, when you're seeing unprofessional behavior, that's when we can discuss using this form. I would like a heads up so that I can send you the link for this, but it's not something you have to seek my permission on, but I will need a copy of this for their file. And finally, just to kind of conclude here, thank you for updating your instructor profiles. Many of you were a little confused by that, especially if you just created those. But every single semester, I'm going to remind you to update those instructor profiles, because then I copy those and put them into your courses. The kinds of changes might be a phone number change if you've switched cell phones. Could be your office hours, that this semester you want Wednesday and Sunday evenings, and next semester you don't want Wednesdays anymore, you would rather have them on Tuesday afternoons or something. So just review those, make sure that they're updated. If you have anything new to add, you will see that reminder every single semester. Some of you had asked about the fall reading days. The university does have reading days, which I think it's just another way of calling a break. They don't get a fall break, but they get a couple days off. It's a Thursday and Friday. Last year we tried embedding those into our course, and it confused our students more than ever. And when they really needed the time was over that Thanksgiving week, when many of them were off of work and would rather have spent their time with their families. So instead of giving them reading days, we gave them that Thanksgiving week. And something I'm going to try with our staff, with all of you this semester, is I want you to feel free to call me, to email me, to Skype me, to have a link meeting with me during my office hours. My office hours are going to be, they're posted, but I'm going to say they're going to be Wednesday nights, Eastern Standard Time, from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. and then Sunday evenings from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. I know that a lot of the students, that's when they're doing a lot of their work, so I like to be available for my students, but I really thought that this is a chance that I could be available to speak with you, or we could have a video conference, just maybe a way for us to connect. So during those times that I will be available online or on the phone or virtually. So I think that that's about it. I'm going to just leave you with a quote that resonates with me every single time I start a new semester. And the true quote is from John C. Maxwell in his book called The Difference Maker. And it says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I like to replace people with students. Students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And thank you so much for caring for our students. And I just wish you the best of luck this semester, and look forward to another opportunity to have a synchronous meeting in the next couple weeks. Thank you for your time.